All right, it's 7 o'clock, so I will call our meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is consideration of the minutes from our July 10th meeting. Anybody want to make a motion regarding those minutes?
Motion we approve.
I'm sorry, who seconded? Okay. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, the next item on our agenda was to review and discuss the draft plan. So I think when we left our last meeting, our homework assignment was to come prepared for at least two discussions. One was to look again at the boundaries that the consultant has proposed for the boundaries of the center zone, and then to move into the land use chart. And then I guess we'll see where we're at when we get through those two discussions. Again, remembering our task and our goal is to make a set of recommendations ultimately to the Board of Selectmen and the Planning and Zoning Commission. So I do think it just makes sense to start with the consultant's recommendation, which is on page 21 of our book. Eric, I know you have some thoughts. You talked about it a little bit last time. You want to go first? You have some thoughts about areas to expand what they've recommended?
Yeah,
You want to walk us through those?
sure. My thoughts on expanding are taking the opportunity to make sure that we include land that's being used commercially already, which doesn't necessarily impact any present or future plan. It includes some areas that are were missed by the consultant that are absolutely largely commercial, including something like the Station 280 property, which has clearly been put to a commercial use all the way down. And I also had some interest, we can look at the map and then on continuing down Route 10 202 towards Simsbury on the left-hand side. There are the three homes that we've talked about that are in distress, one of which has been remodeled by the person who purchased it, who's looking to put it to some additional uses. Then there's the Visiting Nurse Association, there's a fire department, and there's a church. That is all pretty heavily commercial use available. And there are other pieces of property that just logically fall in the center. Our center, I don't want to make it like a geographical type location, but it's really not a center. It's a rectangle. Not that matters, but that would be in form of a center being more of a center shape. So, my thoughts.
Let's do them one at a time.
Yeah. So
Yep.
my thoughts.
Can we orient here all together?
That's right.
Trying to orient.
That's north, that's Station 280.
Okay,
Station
High
280. High school, correct.
this is high school. Is this okay if I'm writing on this?
Yep.
No, it's not.
I'm like, I'm to my
So
land.
this is Town Hall, right?
Correct.
Yep. And this is
What's tough about-
Stony Hill.
What's tough
This is
about,
Stony Hill, right?
Yep.
what's tough about this map is it doesn't have the consultant's
That's
recommended
what-
overlay.
Right.
But what I had envisioned
You can draw on it.
was, of course, the town hall complex, and that also is included in the consultant's overlay.
Right.
But capturing, this is the cemetery down to the municipal complex, the high school. No,
You didn't say how.
no, you're right. I've lost my balance here.
I know.
Said something.
The cemetery, this is irrelevant. It's always going to be town use. Coming down, this is the trail.
Okay,
That's fine.
I'll follow.
And then, Station 280.
Actually, it's this one here.
There you go, there it goes, yeah. And then,
To this point.
yeah, to that point,
Can we
This
draw
is-
that? Is that okay
yeah.
with you?
This is the cemetery piece here, it's over there.
You want to come up to here, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm moving this way.
Yeah, and then down. I had a picture of it.
Well, that's,
Again, this land here is already in commercial use, and this is the rest of the lot that was all.
So what is commercially used here? Just so I
Nothing.
can orient, like,
That's all now Station 280.
Okay,
It's
yes.
almost all the way down to the back.
okay,
Yeah, you're looking at primarily wetlands.
yeah, okay, perfect.
And this is like I said, this is cleanup. This is cleanup activity to put this property into better representation of the zone. So,
The same.
so let's just start there. Like,
Yeah.
the cemetery owns this, right, with this one?
Correct.
yes.
But it's not actively being used as a cemetery, right?
Correct.
So it's vacant?
Bacon.
There's no,
I'm sure it's future expansion, right?
there's no graves there, right? So you're talking about including this, but are you also talking about including the existing
Yes.
cemetery?
Yes.
So what could
Why?
happen here?
Why?
Just because that is in the commercial center and it makes the connection point to 280. You know, zoning and just doesn't like this, so there's no harm in putting that all in there to connect this point here, so we can come back around.
Yeah, and when you think of a core center, area that has various elements to it, one could be a cemetery.
And then we come down here. We get the,
You're saying that I shouldn't have put it
no,
in there?
yeah, yeah, we
Okay.
come down here, we pick up the, that's whose gravel pit, that's,
Oh, is that by the dog kennel, or is that what you mean? Across from
Okay,
McLean?
This is a lot. Okay.
yep, that's a lot line. And then we. Cemetery. We come behind Station 280. And then we walk here. And then. I wish we had a better map that had the town overlay on it. The consultant's overlay on it. But we come back down and we pick up.
Like you come out here, like this?
Are you trying to pick up the
Yes.
pieces behind
Yes,
the vacant house
correct.
on the corner of Hungary?
That is correct. I'm trying to come down and pick up, all this is going into commercial use. We have the bank, we have a proposal for this piece of property. All these are rentals.
So where would you go from here? Because that's already encompassed.
It
pretty
is,
much,
so
no
then
matter.
that just connects.
You, behind Geisler's is where
correct.
we are now.
Correct.
So we have the bank. you have
This is
Dr.
vacant bank, right?
Dr.
Yeah.
Eaton's.
Yeah.
And then you have the medical building.
That's right.
Those are already in
Sterling
the plan.
physicians here.
Correct. So those are already in those were already in the
Here.
plan from the consultant, but they didn't go far enough back down here.
Well, that's a substantial change, though. Why would you want to include this piece in our center? Because we're talking about revised standard for the center, we're talking about allowing development on very small lots. What?
That's why it's open to suggestion.
So what if,
No, I'm just asking. So why would we what was your thinking in trying to include this?
To plan for the future of the Granby Center by proposing more property to put in it. We're running quickly out of available land for central use.
But this is zone commercial today, right?
No, Center Edge.
Well, that's a commercial zone.
No, not Center Edge. That's Commons.
commons,
Center
so the
Commons.
uses, are the same as basically on Oak Ridge.
Correct, they're the same. Somebody could already put a Station 280 there. Somebody could do a whole.
They could do
ton of-
homes, right?
They could do homes.
The chunk bit that's
The differences between Center Commons and Center, Commercial Center are only a few more uses.
Yeah, that whole section's blue.
That's correct.
And that's the same as this.
Yeah, it's pretty wet.
And it doesn't, and the other reason, it doesn't impact any other adjoining homes. There's no homes back there. I mean, this is a very, very viable piece of land. And, you know, I'm not going to die on this hill here, but again, this is a subtle distinction between what we would say commercial center and center commons.
So commercial.
What about this one? So your proposal is to, this is already in the consultant, this was in the consultants.
Yes.
So you're talking about adding all of this,
No, yeah, that's right. The cemetery, moving the cemetery. And just, the only reason to put the cemetery in there is to grab this edge. That's all.
but you can't, you're not suggesting we put just the cemetery and leave these out?
No, that goes into it.
Okay.
This is,
Those are already in center commons already. Those are already deemed appropriate for commercial use, short of just a couple of things that are not allowed in the center commons. Most are in play.
So the bigger thing you're trying to pick up, I'm sorry, I'm talking out of turn here.
No.
You're trying to pick up this row here,
Correct.
which has the, what's this called?
Nursing home. Yeah.
No.
Stony Hill
Park,
is.
Stony Hill.
Yeah,
No,
no, it's stone, it's not stone.
No, Stony
Stony
Hill's
Hill is
right
here.
Yeah, it's the building, the
Said Meadowbrook?
age-controlled housing.
Correct, age control housing.
No,
On the,
Meadowbrook's all we got.
across
The blue elderly housing across from Station 280.
okay.
And this was the animal shelter.
That's right,
upon a time,
once
right?
upon a time.
I don't know what's in there now.
Well, we approved a growing, micro herbs growing thing going on there. I've lost track of whether or not it's still viable. What is it for?
Good.
Microgreens, not,
Oh, okay.
not the smoking kind, the eating.
Yeah. Got the smoking ones around already.
Okay, so I got the handle on what you're proposing north. What about over here? So the-
Last we left it was here and
So
then we
the
cut.
consultant's plan has it right
Yeah,
here.
right here is where we cut it.
No, the consultant's plan has it right here.
Okay.
This is out, this is in.
Yeah,
And then
but so
connecting from
I
here.
could make an argument that it should go down to connect with the rest of this because this is all rentals. This is all,
Shattuck?
these houses here, at least 3 of them are owned by the same individual and they're rentals.
Okay.
Well, Terry Ann lives
Yeah,
over there.
Terry Ann.
somewhere.
Yeah, I'm
Miss-
not sure.
Am I
Yeah,
Here,
going out of my
Terry
bearings right?
lives here.
I'm not sure if it's accurate.
And there's a owner, where's the cut through? Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there's an owner here.
It's Shattuck, right?
Yep, and then there's an owner, Mike, lives here. Yeah.
Yeah, so 1, 2, 3.
Okay, keep going. I just want to get a handle of what you're asking for, but, and then we'll keep going around the room.
Well, I'm done. So again,
We should go south
yeah.
over here.
I was gonna say,
That's right.
what are you thinking going south?
Well, so again, I'm trying to logically connect and get behind the church. That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
The consultants have it like that, right?
Sort of. But then, they have this jagged peninsula out here and they come and they miss all this real estate right here, which belongs to the commercial center.
So they have this one and only this one.
That's correct.
You want to take these,
That's right. Because there's already
only on this side of the street though?
only this side.
What is this right now?
That's the church.
Okay.
And this is the big area we've talked about where they do flea markets
Right,
and
right.
fairs and parking and overflow parking for Salmon Brook. It's just a very commercial use.
How are you doing this again here?
No, leading, so this is,
Oh, she's been over here.
yeah, this is all in already because they've got it going all the way down to here.
Oh,
So
okay,
it
so
would
you
come
come down.
across and come back down
Got it.
and come down and then join the
This
rest.
is obviously windmill space.
Correct, yeah.
I was gonna say, how far south would you contemplate? Sorry.
So we're coming down this way, leaving them out.
Yep, no, stopping there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then going back down.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is where you were saying there are three, the houses that are in.
Well, this one has been.
That one's done, I get it.
Done, but these two,
And this is the little coffee shop.
correct, right, wrong, right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the first one is done with respect to commercial use, right?
Well, I don't know that they've opened it yet, but
They haven't.
they have an approved permit.
Okay, but
They're ready.
this one is,
That's Center Edge, and they have asked, they've come before us informally asking to put a speech therapist in there, and in this building, and then multifamily in this building, and that's currently not allowed.
okay, so they might be coming back.
Well, I think that they're looking for some opportunity to do something else.
And they're obviously working on positioning it for, but
Well, they're remodeling it nonetheless, so I think that's in
Yeah.
keeping with the spirit that was intended to put older homes back to use. The owner has done so. It would, nice to be able to afford an opportunity to have a use. And I think some others that you have since when I brought it up, gone by these two homes, which are a current status of overgrowth. But again, it has less to do about this and more to do about connecting to the, I think this one's the V&A, that's church, and that one is
It's Historical Society.
Historical Society.
And down to Maple. Yeah.
Correct.
so you're trying to pick up that bigger piece, that the bigger
This one, church.
piece, right?
Yeah. And then the historic preservation would still apply to these. So
Correct.
the exterior still have to be in
Well,
line.
strongly recommend it.
Yes.
Strongly recommend it.
So,
Right now, what could happen with them?
They could be torn down.
So maybe we work on increasing.
so your thinking is the reason you want to do that is because you're trying to give them more flexibility than they have under the current code?
That's correct.
That's true of everything you want to add. right?
Correct, that's right. The whole purpose, the most meat we have out of this entire center study is to encourage commercial development. And I took that as my charge for being in this committee, and I see the way to do that is to, the consultant has had some strong recommendations about things we can do with standards to increase the density of commercial use, but in the end is to put more land into the mix for opportunity.
Theoretically, like, so you're saying just that's a contemplate.
You know, I went back and forth. I spent quite a bit of time, as was our charge, looking at that. And I had it in, I had it out, and I was more inclined to leave that out because changing the use for that piece of property, because of its connectivity, like we've discussed, a lot of what I recommend, it doesn't touch homes.
Sure.
This touches homes, and this is already, in the zone that this is in, this can be this. Just
Correct.
keep that in mind. That's
Yeah.
already on the table today.
Who owns this? This is
That's the property right out back.
right, but it's farmed now, but who owns it?
Correct.
I'm sorry?
That's the Avery.
It's the Avery piece or Allison
But
piece.
this property is your next Copper Brook. And I think that's probably an okay use. I'm not convinced that adding additional uses for that makes sense. But in current zone, another development like this could go there. It's actually a bigger piece of property.
Except there's no access.
Yeah, there is.
Same as what there was for Copper Brook.
Oh, this is all one piece?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
it.
okay.
It's one big piece.
Yeah. So I don't think that should be.
The only, and I don't disagree, the only modifying thought is the elevation change at the back of the property does create a natural buffer between the backside of that property and the residential neighborhood.
Yeah.
You got the big pile of rock that separates it.
Yeah, that's a good
So-
point, but I was attempting to be
Either
more
way.
conservative.
Yeah, no, I completely appreciate that and agree. I just,
Yeah, but those are my thoughts. Very open to suggestions, adopting some, none of it or all of it. But right now, the way that the consultant has it, it was a very not aggressive enough approach to really accomplish what I think this committee was set to do, which was to help expand and grow our center.
Eric, this is a hard thing to do because this is teeny.
but can you make an attempt to look at sort of what, I wish I brought my computer so I could expand it. This is what the majority of people consider the center. To orient you, that's Geisler's.
So they grabbed,
That's Brignall.
more property too.
Hill.
Here,
And
do you
then
want to?
this is the second most
Meg.
people, oh yeah, okay, so maybe that's easier to look at. So the
Yep.
second most people did come out to here. So the way it's done, just to get everyone back on the same page. So 81 of the people say that is.
Yeah.
And what, I can't read that, 66, 67. So not a huge difference.
Right.
So do you see that aligning with the public input, what you proposed?
Well, certainly it heads in the right direction. I noticed that you recirculated the email
I
and
did
I
just
saw
because
that.
I wanted
No, and
to
it-
kind of come back to what
And,
people said.
and I hadn't seen that up, the reminder of the data before I had already done my assessment. But yes, there is a contingent of folks that believe we should have gone further.
South, but not necessarily
Yeah.
north.
Even picking up, Geisler's,
Yeah.
is that 55, 56?
74 for Geisler's and then
50 something.
And,
56.
and do know
for-
that piece we spent some time on Shattuck, the public thought we should grab. So I'm not off base there.
So, and then
South.
the
And
200,
this is what you're saying, like south, almost exactly what you're saying,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
And then, yeah, I guess,
And then this land, as I said, it's all vacant. You know, it's just by virtue of,
So blue is the highest percentage of.
yeah, the darker the color blue, the higher people, so it's like, let's say 81 people did it. Out of 81 people, they all agreed that this is center.
yeah.
and
Some,
out of-
Right.
and
out
some
of the-
number.
67 thought this was though, which isn't.
And then we
similar-
get out even further
And
with
then
other numbers.
45 people of the 81, let's assume, said that should be center.
Yep.
So,
the survey wasn't that much different. Like the predominant
Right,
number of
yours was-
people for the survey was
yeah,
what, think of the typical bounded center, 10202, Green, East Granby Road, Hartford Avenue, Bank Street, plus the town hall complex. So
So no matter how you look at the two different views, as well as what I've proposed, if you just think about it from a concentric circle with the highest concentrations, the public has generally recommended a bigger center. So,
Do we remember the size of the map that we presented to the public when we did this?
it was,
Was it
Yeah.
it was
a
bigger
belt
than
line?
that.
no, it was an 8.
Oh, was it?
But, well, we did
Did it?
individual 8x10s, and then we had a large one
On
too,
the
so they
table.
could orient themselves, as I remember.
yeah.
Okay, so
I could be wrong.
the northernmost properties were presented
Yes.
also. So it wasn't
Yeah,
cut
so
off where
not
people
really.
wouldn't put a sticker up there
No.
because we.
Yeah, because there were some people that the conversation included like all the way up to the high school and then,
Yeah, it was a
Four
lot,
sides.
and then we had some people do circles here and then a circle up there, not
Right.
connecting them, so I do remember it was, the north was captured.
Yeah, and a lot of people probably wouldn't want to put a sticker on a cemetery. unless they-
This is center, right? This color is this.
cemetery
Correct,
is
center
going to be
edge.
cemetery.
And the center edge is the most restrictive of the three center zones.
Yes.
That's good. Okay, that's good to know. I just want to make sure that what we're talking about, if we keep
It
kind of going
fits.
back to, it fits.
I would suggest that now that we've had this discussion, you've re-socialized and you've re-socialized the two data sets. I think this decision is too important to make tonight. I think everybody needs to marinate on some of the suggestions on what the commercial center should look like based on, what I have proposed. I know some others here have some thoughts as well, but one thing I'll just reiterate for the last time is we have missed the mark. The consultant has missed the mark based on my observations, the public's observations, and others. It is not big enough.
I also wonder if sort of drawing boundaries a little further out actually, although sounds counterintuitive, prevents sprawl, because you're saying we have already captured what's already happening and there are boundaries to it, right? Because I think a lot of people's worry is that it'll keep going and keep going. And if we mess up and make it real, not mess up, but let's say we make it very small, then we might have to say, oh,
Zoning
2
is,
years,
yeah.
let's come out, and then it's gonna feel like that.
I know
right?
people feel that way, but zoning, as much as we talk about it as reasonably cavalierly, it is not easy to change. For the Planning and Zoning Commission to make these changes is going to take an enormous amount of work. And we don't, doesn't
wanna do it
happen.
twice.
No, and it doesn't happen frequently, and it's something that rarely changes. There might be a small piece of property that is asked to slip from one zone to another, but a massive rezone like this is a big deal, once in a, yeah, generational flood.
And it is happening, right? It's already.
It is happening right under our
And I feel
eyes.
like we haven't talked about Station 280 enough because it was recently built when we started, right?
Yes.
So it's fully
And,
integrated.
and I think it was, everybody just took that property for granted because it turned commercial, because it was allowed, it was in a commercial zone, it turned commercial, but we've not paid any attention to really what that did to that part of the town. The view was very lopsided from the consultant.
I spoke with a resident and he thinks that it's 75, he was like, it's just an estimate, that 75% full too. It's a lot of people coming to town.
That's right.
I think
Okay, so John, what are your thoughts?
the one thing that I've been stuck on and contemplating is based on some of the injects and citizen comments and stuff like that, is really how far south when south by meaning south down 10 and 202, does the center go? And, I've been back and forth of like, all right, is Salmon Brook Park considered part of the center? I don't know. Like when I'm describing where to go, how to get there, I think that's outside of the center. But
Some people do consider
so,
that to be. the center.
exactly. So that's part, is McLean Game Refuge too far? Is, there were some suggestions like, well, it should go contiguous all the way down to Stop and Shop. I think that's way too far because I don't, in my lens, I don't think of that as the center.
Yeah.
The other thing that I struggle with, and I understand why, is the challenge of having different zones on opposite sides of the same street.
Yes.
Seems counterintuitive and
Here and here.
fraught with challenge. Yeah, down Hartford Avenue, down East Granby Road are the two places where and I don't have an answer for it, but it seems odd and somewhat disconnected to be able to have different zones on different sides of the street unless we can articulate a strong reason why.
And I waffled with the same thing as I described. I think we tried to fix East Granby Road, but I could not come up with a solution for 10 Street.
Well, and I think for Hartford Avenue too, it's a lot of residential. There's some mixed use in there. There's apartments, there's bank, there's doctor's office, stuff like that. But it's still largely, as you come up the hill from East Granby, it has largely a residential lens and a residential view. And I'm not sure that that's necessarily something that needs to change, but.
Before I get to you, Marty, so Station 280 is currently zoned the same as this vacant parcel?
The whole thing.
Everything's all
Okay.
blue.
This is all Center Commons, which is a heavy commercial use.
And then, well, in my own head, I get a little confused when you call it commercial, because to me, this is multifamily. It's obviously developed as multifamily, which
Yeah.
is always in my head is not a commercial use. It's a residential use, but an intense residential use. But that's not my point.
Yeah.
So, and it was obviously when they came in to get their site plan.
Yeah.
So the point I'm trying to make here is, so today, this parcel, if it wasn't being used for gravel extraction, could legally be developed as multifamily?
Correct.
The piece behind on the opposite side of the road.
Is that blue the only color that allows this up in here? 'Cause this doesn't allow it,
That
right?
doesn't allow it. This, obviously, the current center and the Center Commons.
For reference, that's all.
They are excavating.
Okay,
They're excavating out of that. This-
I think so. I can't remember what that is. I gotta look it up.
I think it's largely, looking at the GIS, it's largely vacant.
Yeah.
There's just,
A lot of
there's,
wetlands.
But they.
and I was gonna say, there's
ton of
a
wetlands.
bunch of wetlands running through. There's a brook running through there. There's a ton of wetlands running through there, so.
all right, Marty?
One thing that John said, which was quite interesting about going down 10 and 202, and, you know,
This
what
way.
to do there and how to pick that up. It's interesting because remember when this was all being conceived between planning and zoning and the board of selectmen, pulling this idea together to form a committee to study our center, there was quite a bit of interest from the public to include the T1 zone and to pull further south, which I was against because I think they're just two different animals. So in a way, I'm kind of glad that that didn't happen, but some migration south, yes, I will agree with. So anyways, so going back, after digesting a little bit of the information that came from the public, and, you know, Terry Ann's comments and so forth, I wasn't quite sure what the kind of the whole moral of the story is behind the dissection of, you know, analyzing all these small lots that are in the center of town, which we kind of know about. Some are conforming, some are not conforming. BFJ, they did do a count or an inventory of those small lots. I looked back in a memo in November. They did just a quick little, you know, 2-column lot size, address, said the owner or whatever. So they did look at it, but obviously not in the detail from what they're put together, which is good information. But I'm trying, and looking at it all, I'm trying to think, well, what are we trying to say? What is it? Is it kind of the same thoughts that we had, that yes, they are, you know, the non-conforming? Was it the idea of trying to suppress any type of growth or expansion of the center or not? And then as I looked at it more, I got kind of the total reaction to it, where we should look at it a little bit closer and actually try to expand it, not be quite as timid, which I think speaking for myself, I think I've been a little bit timid in this process and not expanding the footprint a little bit larger, like Eric is doing.
So say that again. You're with Eric, you think we should expand it, or you're cautious about expanding it?
I think we should expand it,
Okay,
but cautious about going too far south.
south, okay.
Okay. I think the cutoff where Eric has it at the church area, I think is fine. The one change, so if we start, so we're kind of in agreement with Eric about all these areas. I think I've expressed interest in having the cemetery being included, as I did the town hall. Not sure we have to quite go over this far to the east and picking up this big area here. I think maybe if we just cut down along Hungary Road behind this piece here, because what we have is the corner of Hungary and Route 20, a potential proposal for something to happen here next to the
That's the other side. You can say the words out loud.
Okay. So, and then the piece right behind it is, I think it's a 10-acre piece.
This is all one
Most
piece?
of this is all wet.
Yeah, it's
So
very,
it's
Salmon Brook.
It's pretty
I've got
much
a
two
better-
pieces.
yeah,
It's
I've got
two
a
pieces.
better map up here. Salmon Brook runs right through this,
Yeah.
Right,
right through here.
yes.
And this is
very
the
wet.
land trust.
Right.
Yeah, so I think we can probably stop short and just pick up this piece along Hungary.
That makes
Come
complete
down.
sense.
Why would we include that at all if it's all wetlands and the brook is in there?
Because it's already center commons and it just cleans the map up.
Yep.
You try to go
Right.
along property lines.
So,
To try to cut
Marty, you said
cut straight across.
the piece that goes along Hungary, or just the first?
The piece that goes along Hungary, which I think is 10 Hungary, I think that is the address of
Yeah.
this property here.
That goes a long way. Goes almost all the way down the canal.
No,
Yes.
not picking that up,
Okay.
stopping short.
All right. I was just looking, if you're gonna grab that, it goes all the way down the canal. It's all one piece.
Oh, I thought you meant Canal Road. Okay.
Yeah,
so-
the backside of Canal Road. So it goes,
Well, Eric has mentioned picking this up.
yeah, so
I'm stopping short. I'll stop here and go this way. Pick this up.
Leave that other piece out.
Leave this piece out.
I don't, just kind of just come across or would you?
I
Well, no,
like
we
to
wanna
follow
grab-
lot lines if you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, so I mean, that gets, this lot comes all the way down to here.
Right, because remember, this piece has two access points, here and here. So something could potentially happen here in the future about this. So you could almost put these two together. I would not be surprised if these two aren't talking.
Oh, especially with this going in, this makes that,
Is this
Right.
going in? Do we,
well, potentially going in. It has not cleared the first step yet.
With respect to coming across here to Shattuck, there's 8 parcels here that are, well, 7 parcels in Shattuck and Allen Place. I know the sensitivity here. But also, we pointed out in the information from the last meeting, is that there's a small substation here, a transformer on this lot, which I don't think they pick up, but it was noted in their documents. So we could possibly pick this substation up and come right across this way. It's already a commercial use. There's 7 lots here. 3 are non-owner occupied or investment properties. They,
Well, he's looking something up there. This T1 currently allows multifamily, right?
Yes. Because portion of the grand is in T1, the biggest portion. Which is why they were allowed to do it.
So, all right, so there's 3 out of the 7 here are investment pieces of property.
It's actually 9, isn't it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 9, this one up here. That's 6, it's really not on shadow. Anyways,
That one is? That's the rental? That one, okay.
no,
No.
I know this one,
But wouldn't-
this one. I
Where's
forget
Terry Inn?
one of these.
Where's Terry Inn? Right there, right?
Wouldn't
It's
that,
down a little.
Marty, wouldn't that get us back to
private
the
drive.
same idea where we'd end up with 2 different sets of rules on opposite sides of the street?
Like against.
Yeah.
Which streets?
This street. He's saying if you come down here, you
If you
got,
take that chunk from the substation down in those 9 lots and consider that part of the center, but the other side of the street isn't, then
Well, one point that is pointed out in this document from Terry, that I always try to look at and think about, is the ownership structure that's behind these pieces of property. So if we have 3 out of 4 here that are investment properties, non-owner occupied, the likelihood of these owners that currently own these non-owner occupied, putting their families in there is slim to -1.
And remember, they're already in the commercial commons zone, which allows commercial use,
Right.
heavy commercial use.
So they bought them obviously for a strategic reason. And the other thing I'd like to try to avoid too is zone changing. Of one-off lots,
Yep.
like we're experiencing here on this corner. All right, so anyway, so that's that. And then follow it along where Eric had it going across behind the church down and then back up to the corner here, the very middle piece. Town hall. And yes, I would leave all this out. Did include this chunk, and you almost
so
go down with the.
Eric, these are homes, right? They're homes on
that's
small,
Copper Brook.
small lots.
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay.
It's actually, that's a I would call that more like a PUD. It's a
Yeah.
plan unit development because there's condo association with bylaws and that development.
Is that how they developed it? They permitted it? They do a PUD?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what they asked for, but they didn't have to do it that way, but that's just the way they chose to do that.
But they probably got some density advantage to doing the PUD, right?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. Okay. You good, Marty?
I have a clarifying question. How is the land trust in the blue?
Could ask that about all of these parcels, frankly.
Yeah.
Like, how, because you
some-
couldn't
well,
actually
because-
develop.
Well,
it for
well, you can, the land
right?
trust, depending on, well, the land trust can buy and sell land if it suits them, number one. Yeah. the number-
Which piece is land trust?
So the one like right behind my house is land trust, so I assumed it was
Oh.
protected.
It is,
It might be, but
Yeah.
there's different layers of protection. So
Correct.
Yeah.
it may be permanently protected, it may be temporarily.
people donate property to the land trust without restriction, and the land trust has been known, full disclosure, to sell property if it raises funds to pick up more desirable pieces.
They trade property too, so we would have to research whether this has actual development restrictions on it. I'd be,
And they could have acquired it after the zone change.
Land is donated as open space to the land trust as part of subdivisions. There's a lot of reasons why land ended up in the land trust.
Okay.
so what do you think?
Well, it's hard not to talk about uses during this conversation, because that's what we're ultimately looking at. What are we allowing? So that's what I've been doing with my time between the last meeting and now. And I called Eric and I'm like, wait a minute, I want to make sure that I understand this. So one thing I look at is museums and galleries and performing arts. So in these Cape Cod houses, you could potentially have a museum in Center Commons. However, right where the houses that are sort of falling apart, right here, so I'm right, okay. Right next to the church, on the other hand, currently, you could not have a museum.
Which makes no sense.
And so when I look at uses, that doesn't make sense to me. And that's why I'm like, yeah, if we loop them in, but I do think if we loop in anything south, that our historic preservation has to be even stronger, right? So it's like, I do think we should be able to have expanded uses, a museum, what other ones that I think were strange that we're allowed on our street to have printing and photography service. And likewise, perhaps they could if it was still maintained as a historic property. So as we expand, I think we should always be talking about uses. I looked at utility use, and I think we're talking about things like solid waste transfer station and other such uses. That's allowed over here. That may be one thing you don't want to allow over here. I mean, I wouldn't allow it over here if I were writing the codes either. But I do think that as we think of expansion, we need to keep checking back with the preservation and think if it's allowed in these homes, I don't want to leave anyone out, should it be allowed here?
The saving graces that we discussed
Yeah.
is that most of these uses, the expanded uses that are allowed in this zone but aren't allowed in this zone are by special permit. So when you talk about a solid waste facility, this special permit process specifically clearly states the use has to be suitable for the specific piece of property in the surrounding neighborhood. So a logical planning and zoning commission would never let that happen in a residential neighborhood.
Which is why I was surprised it was green instead of the
Why is it
special
even-
permit
why is it
color.
even-
Oh, that's right, that one is
Because
green.
it's
for some-
green, and I was like, so that actually
that?
means there wouldn't be much
Yeah.
discussion,
Yeah, why is
correct?
there even one?
Yeah.
Why is
So-
that even there?
That, I was telling Eric that I have
I didn't put it there.
No, I know.
definitely, I've worn my design for wellness and community hat this entire process, and then I put on my resident hat, and it actually helped me understand the properties that I have nothing to do with better. Because I think, yeah, again, the museum example, a small theater, that almost makes more sense over here if it's beautifully preserved and fits with the neighborhood. So I think looking at the uses actually goes deeper than I had once imagined in how it ties in with what we're expanding to. And that's a lot to digest too, and you'd have to go through like I did every single one and compare what could happen in one and what could happen in the other. But yeah, if we're taking the chance to change things, I don't see why this is green.
And this is the opportunity to make recommendations to fix stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just believe that's dated. There was concepts of utility use if you move away from, solid waste processing center.
Yeah, what are other examples?
There's small substations,
Uh-huh.
like Marty pointed out, there's a piece of property with a substation.
Yeah.
Substations are necessary evils to run neighborhoods.
Yeah,
So I think that that's really what that envisioned.
yeah. Which makes sense. And
But
then
could it go from green to special permit use? So if somebody needs to put in a fiber optic substation, which is all the rage right now, there's some thought and consideration as to how it goes and where it goes.
That would be a recommendation. And then just thinking about, yeah, we don't want liquor stores in our historic
Sublease the frontier
area.
building.
Right, but the burying of our dead should not be a permitted use. I'm sorry, I disagree with that one.
right.
So, well, I'm sorry, I should.
There's
Maybe
this-
she's sitting,
Yeah.
maybe she's still sitting on the cemetery board, I'm not sure, but, that definitely needs to be under special permit.
Agreed. Agreed. So I think when we talk about expansion, it wouldn't hurt to kind of say, okay, let's look at these properties. What is it reflected here? And match it up. Because I have no problem with expanding to 280, because you're right, it's already there. And they're the ones generating, the
Foot traffic.
economic activity in town, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones walking to ice cream right now. I've run into people, and they're like, where do you live?
There's not a day that I don't drive through the center where I don't see couples walking from 280 to the center,
100%.
pushing strollers, walking their dogs. It has,
Similar to what we saw with Concord Brook.
that's right. It has returned a vibrancy to the town that was missing.
And when we go back to our anchoring goal, which I always do,
Yeah.
vibrancy. So as much as maybe we do things aesthetically different or whatever, it was already zoned for it. And
Yeah.
we do need to consider then
Yes.
as we move forward. So I am with you in the bringing up to Station 280. I could be with you coming down south if we really look at uses. And that would be my caveat.
And I would offer that again, the charge here for this committee is to make general recommendations, and we can go down so many rabbit holes with these uses.
We
don't
can,
have time.
sure.
This is for planning and zoning to tackle. when
But
it's
maybe
time.
we do make a couple
Sure,
recommendations
100%,
too.
100%. But a couple of recommendations and know that the planning and zoning would be charged to go through everyone.
And I'm fine with doing that too, clearly, but
Yeah.
I kind of zoomed in for a minute because I think you need to zoom in to zoom out and see the uses. Yes, I'm done.
So looking, Eric's thought relative to incorporating at least as far as South Church into heading south, it's interesting because you look at South Church is contiguous to Windmill Springs, which then touches the Meadowgate apartment complex, which then touches Historical Society and the firehouse.
Yeah.
So you could, like that, even though the streetscape along Route 10 is a bunch of other like those properties all touch each other. So I don't know what that means, but it's interesting to look at perhaps, that far south makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
I still struggle with that.
Me too.
Could we make the preservation stronger if we expand? Is that possible? Because I think that's going to be something that comes up with the public.
With the-
And I think it was a note from more than one of us to increase, and I don't want to get really, really detailed and prescriptive, but to increase the amount of detail in design standards. So regardless of what is done, it looks in a certain way.
And the
I think we're all on
consultant,
the same page.
the consultant had made a recommendation that some towns have offered,
Village district kind of thing.
well, the use district, but that to me gets to be a little bit slippery, but some of the uses that could be by special permit, if you expand them, are contingent upon maintaining character. That is the carrot in the stick.
That's in the appendix, I
Yes,
believe. Okay,
it is.
I think that's an important point.
That protects the landowner's rights, which currently, as we've discussed, allows them to tear down, but create an incentive for them to keep it by offering them more uses, if they keep it.
Yes. That makes sense.
So, here's where my head is at. I have not actually looked at it through this lens as carefully as you all until tonight in terms of what the blue already represents, and what can already be developed there. The way I was trying to wrap my head around it for me was just starting at a higher level and forget where we drew the lines. The concepts for me were there's an area this area in our town that we wanted to be more walkable, more connected. We wanted to look to see if we could make certain greenery improvements with the town green and maybe tie it into some other things, or we were going to do like a pedestrian kind of plan. And the focus there was going to be encourage development that fit that sort of pedestrian focus, if you will. Okay, that's how I was trying to get my head around it. And that in that area, so we'd have like a walkable plan, and then we would have beefed up design standards, or at least more specific design standards. And then we would look at the code to see what needed to be done to either to encourage the development of vacant properties, or to fill vacancies in existing buildings, or to maybe encourage some reuse or renovation of underutilized buildings. Okay, so for me, that's what I was trying to accomplish in one zone wherever we drew the lines. This to me is the heart of Granby, where these older historic houses exist. It creates the viewpoint coming into our town. I think as you guys designed and approved these projects, they made sense and they didn't take away from it because they're mostly set back, right? So you don't have buildings right on the street. So to me, this in my head became a sort of a transition zone where we're going to try to protect that, but allow less intense uses and have really, really strict design standards. And then you get some point south, again, I don't know where that is, where the current T1 is roughly. And that area needs to be vehicular focused, right? Because that's the north end of Simsbury. If we're going to have successful commercial, it needs to be. And so now having said that as my background, I don't, if I just stick with what I thought I wanted out of the center, I don't see any objection to including the cemetery, because it's not going to be developed as anything else anyway. So if that's where you want the square to be, square to be.
Well, again, the only reason to do that, I hate to beat a dead horse, is to avoid jagged.
I understand, I get it.
Trying to round.
But we do have to
smooth it
look, so to Meg's point, but we're all thinking the same thing, right? The devil's going to be in the details. If we extend it out there, the cemetery's never going to be redeveloped, but these might. So now we got to look very carefully at what we're allowing.
We do, and as I pointed out, the difference in use from here to here is small.
I understand. I'm going to get to that point. So wrapping it around here, same thing. Station 280 is already developed. There's nothing we're going to change here that's going to cause any drastic. Nobody's going to tear down a brand new apartment complex to build something different. Getting over here now, you're getting notwithstanding John's concern that you shouldn't have a street. I'm telling you, our public is not expecting us to be developing commercial along Hungary Road. And so, and then this piece here, I'm also going to go out on a limb and say our public doesn't understand that currently could be, forget wetlands restrictions and all that kind of stuff. From a pure zoning standpoint, that could be developed for multifamily.
That's right. Yeah.
So to me, it gets into an area where I know I'm opening a whole can of worms here. We might be looking at taking some of the stuff out of these zones, or at least if you want to leave it in, looking more carefully at, and I'm just going to say it, we don't have the sewer capacity to do a bunch more multifamily, right? So you're saying by expanding this is it's already commercial. Let's develop it in a way that met those other standards. It's walkable, it connects, it's got these great design standards, so it looks cool. then I'm with you. But then we got to take away multifamily as an allowable use by way of example on that property, because that's.
We'd have to pull up a map with a wetlands overlay.
Right.
This here, this part of Hungry Road, as you guys know, the Salmon Brook runs right through here. This floods
That's very wet.
both sides of the street. And looking at the real map, this is all very wet. This, where's canal on here? Yeah. Is that the wetlands
Yeah,
overlay?
that's the wetland overlay.
Yeah, and you're never going to get in there.
That's,
Well, so I guess what I'm saying is
So
when we get
predominantly
into,
See it?
wet.
There's what we're talking about. That piece is this piece.
Yeah.
It's wetlands.
So wouldn't you want to take it away then?
No, not necessarily.
well, I would. I guess one of the things that I would say is when you get into those devil the details, if we know wetlands is going to severely restrict, just pick multifamily development here, then we ought to strongly consider not allowing multifamily.
Well, it's going to restrict any development in there.
Understood.
Houses at all, period.
Understood. So this one to me is iffy, guessed on what you're drawing. This one here for me is iffy, but, I can be convinced that that's where you want to square it off. But again, the devil's going to be in the details. This troubles me because it looks good if somebody can assemble the whole thing. Where it will fall apart is if, I'm making it up, whoever owns this house, if you're allowed to do X there, and that's the first house that goes to X, that's horrible for everybody else who lives on this street. So to me, and it's kind of the same here, notwithstanding that the ownership currently looks like somebody's trying to assemble land here, right? We got to be very careful that our zoning restrictions don't allow somebody to take one piece. And because a non-residential use right there, I think would be detrimental to the other.
Stabilizing.
So this.
Yeah, but just to pause you, it's allowed today and is in place all over this commercial center.
I understand. So
That's
I guess
right.
what I'm saying is if we're looking at expanding and really getting into the details, I'm going to advocate that we don't necessarily accept that as what has to be going forward. That you might want to remove some commercial uses on some of these properties for a while, or at least say, instead of reducing the lot size, saying in this square, you gotta increase it. You gotta have a big enough piece to make it work.
And that's kind of what I'm saying, because it's like, yeah, right now, a liquor store could go in here.
That we gotta fix that. If we're gonna,
No, I disagree. That land has been for 50-plus years designated as the future commercial potential growth for Granby Center. Always has been and continues to be this day. You can't plop that, it's called spot zoning. You can't all of a sudden restrict what's commercial use right now, including rentals that are currently available right there, and turn it into residential zone only.
why couldn't you?
There are a lot of reasons, including being challenged in court.
You think somebody could bring a successful legal
Yes.
challenge if we say,
Yes.
we've looked at this whole area and we decided this over here is better for commercial than this because of this existing use. So we are going to take this out of the commercial zone. I
do.
then what are we doing here?
well, and especially convert it to a residential zone, which I think is what we proposed here. Right. So you're talking about making a whole nother zone here and having it called the center residential zone.
Just an R30, is that what you're suggesting would be?
No, here's my idea actually, and it might work equally well for here as it is for here. Just spitballing, okay, for all of those who are writing down everything we say, just spitballing. So I don't assign any connotation to the names, but in this area in particular, right? We need some standards that are transitionary standards, right? So maybe what we do, let's use this as an example. We say, okay, this, whatever we call the zone, transition zone, historic zone, or whatever, there's only one permitted use. It's residential. All of the, some other select group of commercial uses that we would find acceptable, you could do by permit, but the condition is you have to either A, keep the structure that's in place, or B, if you rebuild the structure, it has to be to very strict standards, which was essentially require somebody to build it to look like the existing structure. So you could protect the character of them, and if you did that here and here, if this house is in fact then becomes an office, but it still looks like a house, it's less objectionable to the people who are still living next to it. To me, that's important, that we have to find a way to protect against that. And especially over here.
So those are in a protected zone. That's what the center edge zone was designed to do.
These,
Correct.
right, but
Could
it's,
these be center edge then too and have those same protections?
I don't see that area of, it's not in the current center edge zone. It's not connected to the center edge zone. You really can't have edge, edge, edge. You have to connect it all. You can't get through the commercial center to get to it.
I'm wrong.
What is?
I thought what you were referring to is that
Yeah, but the edge is here.
it's Auburn, correct?
Correct.
So, I think
You have to get through that to get to that.
to that.
But then maybe there's a find the middle. Maybe some uses come down in here. Maybe we don't want liquor stores to be allowed here and not here. And maybe some uses come up here, like, okay, if it's a really nice museum, because that's the most reasonable one I can think of, it could happen on both these areas.
So just to remind again, a liquor store can't go there without a special permit, and any reasonable board would never allow it.
Is there, and this is popping in my head too, is there,
That's right. So I think we're talking about here a protectionism that already exists by design, and by taking that person, listen, 100 years from now, when none of us are sitting at this table, remember, we're planning for the future. And those houses have started to shift to commercial rental investment properties, as Marty pointed out. You have to read the writing on the wall of where certain pieces of property are headed.
is there a stipulated, either in statute or regulation, stipulated criteria of what must be considered for a special development? Or is that just within the zoning, that's whatever's in the zoning regulations?
Well, there is the special permit section of the code, which we could spend some time with, talks about the use being congruent with the surrounding community and other things like that to take into consideration. There's quite a lengthy prologue in there about, impact to the community, all that sort of stuff. So there has to be some consideration to that. And the Planning and Zoning Commission, there was, at least, we're pretty generous with land uses, but there were two applications that came before us for some uses down over by the school that got denied because they were not in fitting with the area. So there's precedent.
so generally speaking, but this is not a restatement, it might be a slightly different statement. Generally speaking, I get what you're saying. Ultimately, these, especially these.
Correct. That's
Okay, especially these, ultimately, we should encourage some, and ideally, somebody would acquire the whole thing. That would make a great little commercial piece.
Yes.
Okay, so generally speaking, everything that's in blue now,
could stay.
I'm okay with us focusing continued commercial development there, as long as we look at it very carefully and make sure it makes sense. And especially in the edge areas, okay, where they might come up one by one, generally speaking. But when we look at it, I do think that in my opinion, there's nothing wrong. If we're going to say this is going to be the commercial core, then we should remove multifamily or at least multifamily of a certain size from the permitted uses. Because we don't have the sewer capacity to do it. And that's, if it's going to be commercial, it should be commercial, and multifamily is a residential use in my own head.
Yeah.
I'm okay with commercial here, long-term, under, essentially two conditions. One is it's got to be much less intense than over here, I think. These have got to be, the more intense uses have got to be along the streetways. And we got to do everything we can within our legal capacity to promote these structures staying in place and incentivizing people to keep them in place with a different use.
Which is to your point that you brought up.
That's right.
About it.
Possible enticements.
Yeah.
I think dovetails well with one of the comments from the public that we had relative to setback build 2 line. So that visual downtown 202 remains the same. You know, you've got all the dwelling units and even the church, the old library is set back some.
That's very important.
It is very, it creates that look,
Yeah.
for sure.
Because
That's something we
currently,
can
under
come
our
back to
current zone,
BFJ with,
the current
right?
zoning regulations, we're learning this with AutoZone, our protections aren't particularly good, right?
There's a decent setback. Right now, that building that's on there's non-conforming. The AutoZone would require, we could look it up, but it's a significant setback.
But, yeah, but again, maybe again, I didn't ask the question right, because the AutoZone is not directly comparable to this being converted because they're in 2 different zoning districts.
Correct.
Right,
That is correct. The AutoZone would not be allowed here today.
okay. All right. Is there, I don't want to open another whole can of worms, but maybe one of the things y'all look at is, do we need given what's happened here, do we need the historic zone to go that far north? Couldn't it go here?
Well, yeah, the overlay, as properties succumb, it obviates or extinguishes the need for the overlay. Although one can argue the overlay for some of those properties gives us a little bit of enforcement action to make sure they can't. Let's just keep on the AutoZone thread. That historic overlay will require them to build a potentially a wood-sided architectural
Yeah.
slope roof building as opposed to a cinder block pillbox, which you normally see.
Yeah, because that's their aesthetic.
That is
What
correct.
was the and I think it popped up once before, and I'm just, because I'm looking at this historic overlay on the map right now. What was the criteria? Do you remember what the criteria was used for inclusion versus exclusion?
I wasn't.
Seems fairly random.
It was very, but I think they tried to pick
Could
up,
not.
they tried to pick up old houses, John, and there is an old house on that property. So-
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
not having anything to do with AutoZone or any other proposal. I'm just looking at, it's a little blocky.
The overlay?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, because I think they targeted
Just
properties
set
that
an age.
had an existing
Got it.
historic home on it, no matter what its condition was.
Understood.
And at the time that they did it, I'm sure those houses were all lived in and thriving more than they are today.
Probably architectural features too,
Yeah.
Good point.
without preserving the
Yeah.
exterior.
Yeah, that goes back to the 80s. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I asked that only wondering, like, as we talk about does that, to Mark's point, does that need to be expanded to incorporate other properties, or are we content with just the way it is? That's all. And that's a quite legit question.
So I'm starting to get my head around, although I do think it's worth, we'll go to 8:30 tonight, and then we'll take a poll and see if anybody wants to go later tonight. I do think it's valuable for us to at least go through the proposed uses to just kind of see if there's a consensus around any one way or another. But it does seem to me that I'm getting my own head around closer to this committee recommending boundaries to the Planning and Zoning Commission with goals that we're trying to achieve. I'm just going to re-articulate mine, but just more. So the center zone is where the more intense commercial would be, and we're going to limit or not allow multifamily at all. I'm not saying that's what we're doing this one. Then we got this area here, whatever we call it, where we would allow different, less intense commercial uses, but by protecting the buildings. This area you'll have to figure out. But so I'm starting to get my head around giving you guys sort of those goals, and then you because there's going to be a lot of back and forth. what uses should go where, but I think we could probably reach consensus on what type of uses we want to see in those two zones, right? All right. Everybody cool with that?
I think that's a really good idea to go by line by line.
Okay, so let's just start with, we're on page 23. Let's just start with the consultant's proposed. Now, can somebody remind me, I apologize. The first three columns there,
Existing.
those are existing. They didn't recommend any changes to those?
No.
Okay. So where would the COCC zone?
That's what I was trying to figure out, because I have historic, then,
So the COC zone would essentially go away. COC.
Now, CC will go away with the new proposed Granby Center. But the center
No, the CC is Center Commons.
Say.
Center Commons.
that
Yeah,
would
so
go
the
away.
COCE is up against the proposed Granby Center. Right?
I thought that the COCE was, yes, what we are looking at
Okay,
to turn
got it,
into
yes.
the proposed. Is that what
Right, the
you're saying? Yeah.
COCE is the current commercial center. Why they call it the COCE.
So the main three to look at are 1, 2, and then 4.
Right, so the COC, CE would go away, right?
And it would be replaced by proposed Granby Center.
Okay. And the other two columns, they haven't recommended any changes?
We didn't ask them to, it came up several times, but we didn't ask them to make recommendations to change the center edge uses or the center commons uses.
So for the purposes of tonight, let's,
23.
everybody okay with starting with the proposed? And then if we have time, we can move back to the, in particular, the CC zone?
Sure.
All right, professional offices, any objection to that being in our center?
No.
There today,
Restaurants, any
there today.
restaurants subject to, what is, Eric, what is?
Smaller restaurant and bigger restaurant,
Big and small.
big and small.
Why would we want big restaurants to require a special use permit?
Just because it's, a restaurant is an animal that needs to be
Especially with,
Parking and
especially with site
everything.
plan.
parking, site plans, use, it's,
So really, the main difference between those two is size?
yeah, so I hate to, limited seating, think like the McDonald's takeout we had
Right.
briefly, that had a little bit of seating but didn't have a drive-through, limited seating. Subway is a restaurant with limited seating.
Julian's will be.
Julian's,
What really brought it to light
Alpha
was.
God has more seating.
that's a
what really
full-on
brought
restaurant.
A lot of that to light was COVID.
Yeah.
Okay.
It started to work so.
So those are perfectly,
I think that's fair, because
Yeah.
they might need more guidance, how it fits in if it's bigger.
So
Okay,
816 is the actual restaurant section.
Yes.
In the zoning regulations.
Which is
Limited
important.
seating is, and maybe
so if you're just smaller with could you be a tiny little restaurant and fit in the definition of limited
Yes,
seating?
yes.
With a full bar?
yeah, bar,
Like Bear's Den.
yes,
That was called
correct.
Bear's Den.
Yeah.
All right,
Small limited.
We stay away from alcohol, so alcohol is governed by the state and liquor commission, and we follow their use, but it is allowed.
okay, so generally, we have consensus that restaurants should be permitted, the smaller ones should be permitted, the larger ones, the planning commission should have some control.
Yes.
All right. Retail, sale, rental, and repair. My only comment there is we should look very carefully at what repair.
I was gonna say,
Is it car repair?
I was gonna say,
No.
auto repair.
Auto repair's down
is-
further.
I think it's, yeah, it's called out.
So maybe, yeah, this is in the weeds a little bit, so
I thought, I couldn't find it when I was looking.
retail sale is probably what we need.
Fueling station.
Never mind.
We should specify, I don't know.
We'll have to check,
There it
is
where
auto,
auto
yeah,
repair is.
is auto
All right.
here.
So everybody at the table, assuming retail sale means retail, we're cool with retail, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but then with a note of, is this auto
But,
repair?
but if you go down below, there is retail sales or alcoholic beverages, that covers any retail as well as your liquor stores. I've got to look at that one. The
Seems a little messy.
retail sale, rental and or repair, I got to look at that one. We'll
That could
table-
be, I mean, a car dealership is a retail sale of cars.
It's not
Or
intended,
any type of equipment, you don't want.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
okay?
Used to sell boats.
All right,
Then that's very different than like popcorn and
Sorry.
consignment.
I was a little
because
kid.
Of course, we
So-
want to allow.
mixed-use buildings. I don't think we're gonna get any mixed-use buildings.
Well, don't we have some now today where there's an apartment up above and something down below it? They're gone now, but the haircut place that just, they were in the center, but they left.
Nice start.
One Park Place. I think that's what that's intended to, mixed use would be residential, typical residential above and retail below.
And actually, the abandoned bank is one of the kind of ideas that they ran by us.
And all their,
Be mixed use.
For a while, where
Be
the
restaurant
box
on the
stop
bottom.
was mixed use.
It
has
was.
The office above.
listen, all they're suggesting is it's currently allowed by special permit. Some of this code change is to allow more things by use so people don't have to come before us and beg. But if they have to come before us and ask for mixed use, that's fine too. I think it should be allowed, but I think the debate is whether it's by permit or whether it's allowed by right.
Agreed. I'm in the camp that it should be by permit because you're gonna run into parking kind of issues and stuff like that if you got mixed buildings.
Yeah.
You wanna,
So to change it back to yellow.
Yep.
any objection to that?
No.
For mixed use.
All right. Here we go, multifamily.
Multifamily's allowed in all of the zones with acreage restrictions. And it should continue to be allowed in the,
But they're changing it from permitted use to,
that
so
is,
for if the acreage.
yeah, I probably think it should go back to a special permit.
Yeah.
Okay.
20,000 square feet, something.
Plus, I don't like the lot restriction. I mean, the lot reduction size, because I don't know what that means.
That,
The
that,
20,000 square.
No, I know what 20,000 square foot means.
No, I know, but like what
I
they're
don't know how
referring
many of these
to.
would-
Yeah,
How many of these today don't, it seems like all of them.
right.
so right now, just to explain, right now, you need a significant amount of acreage on the commercial edge and the center commons to get multifamily.
Right.
All right? There is no restriction today, but they're suggesting a restriction. So,
So you're saying today I could build multifamily on a 1 acre lot here?
no,
No.
you need for where your finger is, you need 5 acres,
Okay.
which is why the green,
What about here?
in there, you need no restriction.
So on a half acre, but there's got to be a density limitation.
There is. The number of units you can get on it is subject to the size of the lot.
20,000 square feet is 0.46 of an acre.
That's right.
So less than half
It's just under half. Yeah.
So here, today,
It scares
under
me.
the current code, what is the maximum density I could do here?
We'd have, for new construction, I'd have to look it up, but right now, if any of these homes, they could all be converted into multifamily. If it has an upstairs and a downstairs, it could become 2
And
units.
multifamily is defined as, is it 4 or 5 units?
Now you're testing me.
So
You're doing pretty well on these
Yeah.
questions though.
fire code's anything 2 and above 2, so 3 and above.
So I would think that'd be the,
I think we should table this one when I have the regs. I can bring the regs with us to a meeting,
And Abby will be here.
and Abby will be
Yeah.
here, absolutely.
Well, so, but let's,
2 or 3 plus though.
But should it go back, the size restriction, let's table that, but should it go back to permitted or special permit?
I think it needs to be special permit.
Fine. I changed it to yellow myself.
Yeah, me too.
John,
I'm fine, I'm absolutely fine.
being special permit.
Yes, sir.
All right, and we want it table the discussion about what the minimum lot size should be.
Correct.
We should table that because there's,
Just with
yeah.
complication.
No, wait a minute. Oh,
And so relative to your mention before of sewer capacity, et cetera, and this is getting way down in the weeds as we talk about multifamilies, the ability to be connected to public water and sewer. Which I look at as in some ways a limiter, but also some ways provides greater flexibility for them to do good things. Municipal water should be, I don't know if there should be a given, but that, so should public sewer.
Okay, so I'm agreeing with Eric now. We should table this discussion. This is critical for us. This is
The
important
multifamily.
Yes.
Yeah.
to figure out where we're going to allow that and where we're not and under what circumstances. So by special permit, that we can look at let's table that till we get back.
Yep.
Banks, I think, should be a permitted use.
I have a little hesitation there.
Okay?
Oh, yes.
What's allowed right now by special permit.
Special permit, yes, sounds better than just permitted to me because when we look at our goal of vitality and wellness and all those things, banks are great, but do we need more of them? And does it really create an environment of connectivity and wellness?
I still can't believe they built another bank.
Well, and I was going
Is
to say.
it a
to
place
the-
for people to interact?
For the,
and-
for the future looking thing,
Right.
what, the bank's going to be the size of a mop closet. I mean, if you-
Yeah,
It's-
I just
by the way,
don't
it's
think
the
it
size of
leads
your
back to
phone.
our goal of having more
As
banks.
long as they don't take the money out of the center of town so people can go spend it.
That's fair. Good
Well,
point.
yes.
Marty's spot.
But like, so people are like Apple Pay, whatever, right? But
See,
anyway, I would venture that if special permit, we could say something like, well, we already have a good deal of banks.
I don't think that's illegal.
Yeah, we can't stop.
No.
Legally, they could not use, we have too many banks as a justification.
That's true, okay, okay.
Can't have liquor stores.
Okay, so take that hat off, not official, put the hat on. Yes, but banks don't contribute as much, believe it or not.
You're right.
Money does.
But what, from a purely land use standpoint, what would make a bank more objectionable than a professional office, which we're permitting?
Which it essentially is, right?
Well, it's the drive-through.
Drive-through.
It's the drive-through.
But we have a whole reg on
I was
drive.
gonna say drive.
Drive-throughs are going to be dealt with separately, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. 17 pieces of
I
property,
see.
so you can have it.
I'm okay with it being a permit.
I'd go either way. Quorum.
Yeah.
Ambivalent.
How big is it?
It's fine, we can have,
Okay, we can leave
have
it.
banks, but can we have nice benches and flowers and gathering spots outside?
Yes, we have site plan approval.
Yes.
Good
Can we
signage,
just-
bike racks.
Make
They
it
did,
beautiful.
the newest bank that came in, they did do a nice job.
Yeah.
As long as it's connected to community.
Traffic flow actually is nice in it.
Personal services,
It's fine.
those should be
It's
permitted.
what they're there anyway.
Daycare centers, educate me why they would need to be a special permit?
I don't know.
Probably around site planning.
Suitability, children running into streets, I
Play
guess.
areas, if you're
Yeah.
gonna play skateboard and that.
When you make something,
Safety.
something green, you take away our ability to comment on the site plan.
Understand.
Yep, so
So
that's,
I guess my
On
only,
the site plan?
yeah.
So
It'll
we
never,
can't
it'll never
comment
come
on-
before us.
We can't comment on bank site plans then?
If you turn it green, nothing
That's
will
my
come,
point.
right of,
nothing comes before planning and zoning when it's green.
So the banks we can't say, and also can.
You didn't do a
we
site
have
plan
this
review
beautiful
like on
area.
Station 280? You did a site plan
No,
review on Station 280.
it's the site planning part of it comes before planning.
But they have to have have to come before us for, you're right. We get site plan only without special permit.
Right.
Site plan only.
so my
Yes.
only question would be, and again, it seems like an unnecessary step for like a home-based daycare, which is no more than six or children, you know, kind of small daycares, of which there's a gajillion in town. So again, you're having somebody jump through a hoop, but if it's easier as a classification, just have all daycare, then that's fine for special permit.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with a special permit there because I think you do want to make sure they have enough room to have a playground, areas for kids to play safe.
Safety and developmentally appropriate.
Now, why would museums and galleries have to require a special permit?
That's a good question.
Why are they not permitted in the edge?
And remember too, with the.
That's what she was saying.
It's like create a beautiful space, indoor and outdoors. I think they should be allowed. And in fact, I think that contributes greatly to vitality.
Draws people.
Yeah.
So museums and galleries, do we have a consensus they should be permitted?
Sure.
It also does include performing arts though, so maybe
Well,
that's
that's the
the
one thing,
piece.
yeah.
Yeah, because that creates noise and
We will ask the planning commission to look at what it means to say performing arts.
I didn't think about that.
Okay.
If it is an exterior
yeah.
performing arts place, then it could have impact on.
And then they can do performances
Yep.
outside the building and in.
Yep.
And remember too, daycare centers, preschool stuff, there is some laws with respect to distance in certain entities, like liquor stores.
Yes.
Yes.
And so forth, so that's another reason why it has to come before
Good.
Good point.
special permit.
So maybe museums and galleries can definitely.
Movie theaters, is any objection to it being a special permit?
No.
No.
Commercial, educational, instructional, or recreational? Where do we get these broad
What
categories?
is that?
Like a
A
YMCA.
private school,
Be like a Barron Institute or something?
yeah, any paid,
Is a gym recreational, like a Anytime Fitness or whatever?
Yeah, how would you qualify, how would,
I think that
What's-
gyms fall into that.
That's what I'm thinking, you know, in my head, if somebody like a Goodwin College wanted to open a branch in Granby, that is a commercial educational institution.
And that's very different from a gym, though.
It's very different from a gym. A driving school. Guitar lessons.
I think it's fine staying
Drum
special
lessons.
permit.
Because maybe that's when we do need to have a conversation.
so everybody's okay with that one remaining the same?
Yep.
Fueling stations, we're going to prohibit going forward. Everybody's okay with that?
Well, we have two and they would be
Yeah.
grandfathered.
No, understood.
So
So it's fine. It's enough.
I guess my only,
But I'm not allowed to say they're not banks, right?
the question would be, again, take how we define fueling stations. Does that also include electric vehicle charging stations, which is technically a fueling station for an EV?
That's going to be covered into the next one.
Charging station, I don't think is classified by the state as a utility.
The basis of it comes off of the grid.
So the actual physical charging, the charging location, I don't think is classified as a utility.
I think we need to give, based on what you just said there, we need to give some consideration before we opine on this, what happens as EVs become more pervasive,
Yeah.
when Geisler's decides they want to put 4 charging stations in their parking lot.
It's gonna happen.
It is gonna happen.
Really soon. Sorry,
And
all over
it
6
it
months.
may, it likely will not be them, it will be an external entity to say, hey, you know, this is, there's, because to the best of my knowledge, there isn't a commercial charger
I haven't
in
seen
the
this.
center of town or in town, period, so.
So why wouldn't we just break those two up? A fueling station is not allowed, a charging station is a special permit.
Good. So that would be we would add a use to the table.
Right.
Yeah.
There we go.
It fits the times, adjusting it.
It's gonna
for
happen, so it's
safe.
better to be prepared for it.
It's only a matter of time.
Yep, 100%.
So everybody's okay with adding charging stations as a use special permit?
Yes.
Better make sure utility use, which is the next one, doesn't include charging stations.
That's your Frontier building in the center of town right there.
This next line, I don't understand at all. Retail sales or alcoholic beverages. We've
Should that
already,
have been an of rather than an or?
Yes,
okay. That should stay as a special permit.
Yeah.
Well, no, wait a minute. They're recommending that become a permitted use.
nah,
No, I don't think you want to do that. I think you want a special permit for alcoholic beverages.
Yes.
Is there,
If there's restrictions,
Say there's-
there's restrictions, how close you can be to a school,
yep.
take theirs and stuff like that.
there's a restriction on the total number of, right, retail sale per community, right?
Have we maxed out?
I wanted to say.
Gotta be close.
At one time,
About vape
I would say
shops.
yes.
No.
What do vape shops fall under?
That is a
Retail.
Great.
Retail sales
Yeah.
of alcoholic beverages, though, it says, so maybe, oh, just plain retail.
Correct.
I see. Okay,
So we have consensus to change that back to special permit.
yes.
Open air markets. I think it's fine. Printing, photography, or similar service.
It's fine.
Fine.
Would that make sense to have it green?
Granby
Photography.
has none available, to answer your question.
We're maxed out.
We are
Which
maxed
one
out.
are
We
you
only get-
suggesting
we only
in
get
terms of-
four,
Photography?
we're maxed out.
Yeah, so what is the wisdom of making printing, photography, or similar service a special permit?
Don't know, other than the fact I don't know what a similar service is, and maybe that. open-
I would imagine if someone wants to develop photos,
Like,
it's
I'm
probably
thinking
okay.
I'm thinking Photo Hut's not coming back.
I would think so, yeah.
But, like a FedEx office, kind of, there used to be the print shop, well, go way back, there was the print shop in what's gonna be the coffee shop, and then there's the print shop next to where Cumberland Farms is.
All theirs.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very successful in there for a long time.
So maybe that should be a permitted use?
Yeah.
Sure.
See a big deal, turn it out on green.
Okay. Government buildings. Everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Single-family dwelling units, no longer going to allow those. This one baffled me. Why wouldn't we allow home occupations?
Well, it's counter to allowing single-family dwellings. I mean, you could allow them for
I was
existing.
gonna say for existing,
But-
single,
The whole point here is to make,
The home occupation would also be out of the,
yes,
your home is a multifamily.
yeah. It's,
Would be doing a personal service out of your home.
it's to make,
Like
So
a-
I think it should be-
it's to make single-family not desirable, so not allowing
In
home
the-
occupation as well.
context of how the universe is still weighted slightly towards work from home. Is that really a valid concept?
I don't know, I can only state that I think that those two go hand in hand, and it's to discourage single-family use. So if you encourage a home occupation, you encourage people to stay. So we all know that residential in this commercial center clashes, it clashes today.
But if you had your home and then your home salon, that would not be allowed, right? Here? I mean,
Well, home occupation, a home salon would fall into the mixed use.
Right, that's what I was
residence, so
thinking.
that would be allowed, but
Mhm.
home occupation, there's a list, I think it's in our coding about what that means, like you could be a lawyer,
Okay.
in a portion of your house, and those are home occupations. There's a list of them in the actual regs.
Seems like there's a little bit of a Venn diagram with mixed use and home occupation,
Yeah.
An
like a therapy
activity,
office.
Yeah.
an activity which is carried on for compensation entirely within a building or buildings by the occupant of a dwelling on the premises.
That also seems like mixed use, though.
It also seems like
Like
work
your
from home.
downstairs
Yeah.
is your therapy office and the upstairs you live in.
I think to your point, in existing permitted in existing dwelling units might fit, I don't know.
Home occupations you don't generally see people coming to see you.
No.
You're working at home. Whereas mixed use, you would have need parking,
Yeah.
ADA accessibility. and all that
So the
stuff.
therapy example's better for, like, the speech and language therapist, for example, would be mixed use.
That's right.
Home occupation.
Piano teacher.
Yeah, I like that distinction of people aren't coming to you,
Right, you just
You're just
practicing law
working.
in your house.
in your- which,
You're doing today.
yeah.
So, well, I get what you're saying, that long-term, we don't want home occupancies, just like we don't want homes, but what if we made it a home occupancy, a special permit for now? Because if the person who lives here in this house today
May want to.
wants to open a notary service or something,
So then that would fall into mixed use.
Because cars would have to come see them.
Correct.
okay. What if he or she wanted to do a home occupancy that met the current code? Are you against that being allowed by special permit?
Well, not necessarily, but it's always been prohibited, and this is, so that, again, this was just a continuation of the existing code, and I do think it goes hand in hand
All right.
with the fact that homes, single-family homes are not encouraged.
So you haven't had a
Commercial
rush of people who are concerned about not.
Can I work
Well-
from home, please?
Well, let's just put it that way. I'm pretty sure they all are.
That's what I
This
would
one's either gonna be
say.
red or green.
Yeah.
It can't be yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
but I do think the cars versus no cars is very simple concept, which I like.
All right.
So
So we're gonna leave home occupation the way it is.
Don't work from home.
We're gonna leave agriculture the way it is.
Yeah.
Attached accessory apartments, we're gonna leave as is. Family childcare group home, that's currently prohibited and we're carrying that forward. Why? Why don't we want, what is family childcare group? Because it would be permitted in the other two districts.
I don't know.
And family childcare would fall more into daycares and preschools, and group home could be for older individuals.
So, but family, I think we once again, we get to the concept of residences being used for commercial uses. Like my children, when they were young, were, as opposed to one of the commercial daycares that's around here, they went to a home-based daycare. So that's what this is.
Versus the daycares up here, daycare.
Commercial
center and
daycare
preschool.
versus somebody who lives in their home.
But a group childcare home is something completely different. So
Yeah.
I think that there's some nuance there between the three different classifications of daycare, childcare that are in this list need to be a little bit more thoughtfully considered, because I think right now they're all different.
Okay, bed and breakfasts, so the consultant is suggesting changing that from not allowed to special permit?
I agree.
Yeah, it's a good.
Why would we have why would we encourage bed and breakfasts in here?
Because they make it more vital.
So the bed and breakfast is absolutely a use that could be,
That's my point.
maintained.
It was.
It was, there's a
Charter Center.
And that's on here too, in the
That's my point.
center.
What is the point?
Why would we allow it here in the core? We should allow it here. Why would
We do.
Why would we allow it? This chart would allow you, today, it's not allowed in the blue, if this chart is accurate.
No, it's not allowed in the,
It's allowed in the blue
Future.
with special permit.
right, it's not allowed in the,
Not allowed like where Starbucks is.
but they're suggesting it should be allowed.
Why? That's my question.
Yeah.
Why? Why should it be allowed here instead of trying to encourage it to go over here?
I don't think that there's any properties right now in here that are suitable for a B and B, so I've
That's
got no
kind of
problem
where my head was going.
Yeah,
I'm
not-
like, I'm trying to think of what
with making it go back to red.
two-part place maybe would be one of the few, but I mean, it'd be a significant adaptive reuse for anything in the,
Change it back to red.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't,
fine.
I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, the one fighting chance would be for like a church property that was converted to some type of single building structure, B and B. So,
Actually, the
Yeah, I actually think I'd send my guest there.
the VRBO we rented in Scotland was a renovated church, and it was awesome. Very good.
We did the same
Yeah,
thing.
just
So-
something.
in Scotland.
Yeah.
And if we do expand the commercial center down here, you are going to pick up some old homes.
That's true, we may.
So maybe we shouldn't
Maybe
turn
we should
back
leave
to
it.
red. Or that
Make
way.
it special permit in all the zones. I think they were onto something there.
Okay. We can leave it there for now, I get it. That's gonna be one that's, again, subject to where we draw the line.
Yes.
Churches, religious buildings, I guess it's fine to prohibit them, but
Unless
if
we-
you move the line, they're gonna become illegal, non-conforming use.
Yeah, but they'll be grandfathered forever. The property will always be allowed,
So if someone else bought it, it could still be a
always,
church.
always allowed.
Well, no, if you tore the church down, you couldn't rebuild the church.
That is correct.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Right,
But if you keep the building, you keep the
Yes.
use.
all right.
Are we okay if someone rents the property and uses it for religious uses, like we once upon a time had? We had that.
Well, right, the use doesn't, the use is, doesn't matter whether you're renting or owning it, right?
Well, it's been prohibited now forever, and it'll stay.
Okay,
For what, new churches in the center have been,
Yeah, it's been red. Current is red, been red.
Sounds good.
the only other one that I have left on the whole chart that I had a question about is why would antique sales be prohibited?
Don't know.
Abby has an explanation for that. She explained it to us once.
Did she?
Yes, because
just,
she does. We need to ask Abby about that. She knows that.
Got to put Abby's name.
I am.
around.
Because I remember when she explained it, it made sense. and then I forgot.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm sort of,
I think
I'm like,
she
what?
does know.
Okay. So I'm just gonna make a note to that one to clarify.
You want an outdoor flea market? Probably not.
Maybe it was
But,
PFJ, but she'll
The
know
antique
how.
shop that's there now, isn't it?
It's something else though. Doesn't mean that.
Do we
I
want,
wish I could
Pawn shop.
remember the conversation.
do we want to prohibit retirement housing and assisted living? Again, within a convergence. Or, you know, you could have church property or whatever, someone builds a, doesn't mean it has to be 100-bed one, it could be a 20-bed old folks home.
I think that the challenge with the practical application is most of them don't become, there's not a lot of return unless you're doing it at scale. So it becomes a big facility. I understand,
From a business perspective,
right?
yes, I totally agree with you. Usually the line in the sand is 75 units.
Yeah. So that starts to get pretty sizable.
From an inclusive design perspective, if you look at the historical homes as a permitted use for it, it's interesting because those aren't ADA compliant, which you would need.
Well, yeah,
So,
there would be a lot of challenge to
yeah,
Okay, we'll be, yeah.
leave it now.
Okay. So any other preliminary comments on this chart?
I think it was a good first cut.
Keeping the only one we didn't talk about was detached accessory apartments. No.
It's
Oh,
not permitted.
everybody okay with all of that?
Yes.
Yep. Oh, and then we didn't do the last one either. Accessory uses incidental to permitted uses. Red to green, I said.
Well, yeah, because accessory uses are very well defined in the code right now.
Like when we talked about the recycling thing, that's an accessory use.
That's right.
And we had to talk about it, but they're saying we wouldn't have to talk
Correct.
about it, that they could just put their additional tent out,
Well,
whatever.
they would site plan,
Oh, okay.
they would come to the site plan. we wouldn't question the use.
Okay.
So I have three that we're circling back to: retail sales, rental, and/or repair, multifamily use, and the antique sales. Right?
And-
Am I missing, and adding charging stations?
And the performing arts we wanted to.
Oh, performing arts.
And I think a closer kind of examination of daycare, childcare.
That's the discussion was, yeah, sorry. Okay.
The performing arts is a good catch because somebody could recommend some, outdoor concert venue.
All right. So last thing on this chart that I want to ask is, it does seem to me that the planning commission should consider one more line, which says something along the lines of, it would be a special permit. The planning commission could issue a special permit for a use not listed here that it deems to be consistent with other uses or something like that, right?
I think that'd be great. I've always been,
Because I think there's stuff in here that we're, if this is supposed to last 20 years,
It's hard to be inclusive
Yeah.
of.
So we want to give you guys some flexibility to
yeah,
prove things that we didn't think of.
I think that would be great.
Everybody okay with that?
100%.
Okay.
Make it future-proof.
Like electrical vehicles. And then, right?
Okay. All right, so I do think what we should do, well, let's get back to the agenda. We just reviewed and discussed the plan, and we're on action for the next item. I think we should plan the next item to, I think this was helpful, even though, again, the planning commission is going to take a much deeper dive and may come back with something different. I do think we should continue that with the bulk standards. And the parking requirements, they should go quickly, actually, I would think.
And the center edge and center common
Uses.
uses.
Right. So, yes, three things next time. The other two columns we didn't discuss tonight, the bulk standards and the parking standards. Let's set that as our goal for our next meeting. Okay. And then assuming we get through that, and I think we should use the next meeting after that to frame up our actual recommendation. Where the line would be, we'll have already completed our recommendations on the charts, but we still will want to do some work around goals related to what we're trying to accomplish in here, kind of stuff, right? Everybody good with that? Okay. Good work. Painstaking, but good work.
Necessary.
Yep.
Anybody, does not appear to be anybody on either Zoom or in the room. So I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So our next date is,
Oh, that's a good question. Before we adjourn, so we're not scheduled to meet till the end of August. You guys want to try to find an interim one? I'm certainly willing to do that, and I think it's wise if we can do it. That way, by the end of August, we stay on pace. We'll have something concrete to pass on.
13th and 27th?
So we're currently scheduled for the 27th.
13th is a no for me.
Say again, John?
But I cannot do the 13th.
Neither can I. I'll be in London.
But the 27th is still good.
27th is fine.
Yeah.
20th is fine, the 6th is fine.
How about the 20th?
20th is good.
I can do the 20th.
You, Eric?
As it goes.
Don't do it for me, do it for your town.
If I bleed for this town.
All right.
20, 27.
So Catherine, will you take a note that we're going to add a meeting to our schedule on the 20th? And Kathy, will you,
That will be considered a special
yeah,
meeting.
will you work with Abby to get us this?
So, and we're on for the 27th as well?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a regular.
So we can get through it quickly because I think the next two charts will go
I
quick.
think it's wise.
But what will probably take some more time is, maybe if everybody, that, you can make that part of your homework, is that written description of the goals for center and then whatever we call it, north, south,
Right.
right? Okay. All right, we can come prepared with some, written thoughts and then we might be able to have.
And I'll bring, even though they're available to us on the computer, it'd be easier if I have a binder of the zoning regs to share.
Okay.
That I
It's
can
always how it makes it faster.
Yeah.
So I'll make myself a note to bring those.
Any other business that I have forgotten or that we want to address? Well, actually, let me, just to be official, let me ask for a motion to schedule a special meeting on Wednesday, August 20th at 7.
So moved.
So, second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, now a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
2 firsts and 2 seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you all.